So, what's up, everybody? Aaron here with Nobody Cares Podcast. We're here with Johnny Rodriguez. So, what's up, Johnny?
Not much, man. Just actually doing some recording right now.
No shit. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah. Well, I guess whenever you get the that fire still burning, man, that's constantly what you do. You trying to make better music. Basically, most of it just satisfy myself, but for to put out there every once in a while, I like to drop a track and see what everybody thinks.
Mr. Johnny Rodriguez here.
It's actually, I guess you could look at it a couple of different perspectives, but some say it's a curse and some say it's a blessing. But it's just something that it's a passion of mine, I guess, and it's even if I wanted to not do it, it's always going to lead back to it. I've actually tried to put it down a couple of times in the past, and it's kind of one of those things. Like bad things have come from it. I've sacrificed a lot, but it also is my vent. So that's how I heal, and it's my therapy. So for some people it's something they do to be whole inside, and so I mean that's kind of how I feel about it. I do it because that's what makes me feel good. It makes me feel normal and basically where I can face the day every day.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome.
It's my therapy. Everything that has happened over the years. It's been rough, but I always fall back on basically what I used to do whenever I was a kid, and I didn't have adult problems and all this life stuff.
Right.
Wasn't the forefront of everything. Survival. I reverted back to what I used to do to entertain myself. And it's become one of those things that keeps me from going into depression and stuff like that over the years for the things that the road that I've walked. So, I keep it right there close, and I pull on it when I need to.
I'm glad you brought that up because, we as musicians, it's not talked about enough, but it's definitely something that should be talked about, and it's an important thing. Mental health, your therapy, that's a great thing. That's what we see a lot. But nobody ever knows until they're actually in that moment.
Right.
But, when you touch on those subjects, it's like, what? People don't really understand. They don't know. So this is a good opportunity to talk about it because...
Well, that's kind of the platform on as a musician, you have those stories. Those stories are, the inner turmoil that you face every day, and that you speak out, and when it's almost to where you get it out on paper or in the music, and it doesn't stay inside. You release it, and if it touches somebody, if people can relate, that's a plus.
Yes.
That's how you gain your fan base. You actually heal other people, and that's wonderful if you can do that.
Oh yeah.
I've had a couple of experiences where here in the past that I've reached out to people, and they were in a dark place, and if it's been said, if I didn't do that night, then they might not be around. So I think it goes beyond just being a musician. It's just being human.
Well put. I'll go a step further and be like, that's what music is too, like an extension of ourselves.
Of course, yeah.
So that's why
those stories, and they say good songs come from hurt.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Yeah, I wrote some of the songs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true. Some of them come from anger, some of them come from hurt, but they're emotions that a lot of the times people don't know how to handle, or they have no coping mechanisms to get them through those emotions. And and that's, as far as the music goes, that's what helps them. I've heard stories many times, like, that album helped me, or that song helped me, or that band helped me through hard times, and
Right.
I read it all the time. And that's true, and it's actually a treat to be on the side of the making the music.
Yeah.
And helping others in that sense.
That's totally true, because you get that other sense of like, wow, I actually got a chance to help, and you get that feeling of satisfaction, not only as a musician but as being there as a healer, through
exactly.
music.
Yeah, and in the past, it's happened a couple of times, and where they put a hero label on it. I'm like, no, man, I'm no hero. I'm just, I tell you my story, and if it helps you get through whatever you're going through, then that's just me doing my job as a person.
Yeah,
and yeah, so they say that hero stuff, and I'm like, it's hard for me to accept that.
To our soldiers out there, the real, give it up. Thank you for your service, soldiers. They come down and they're like, we like this, we dig this, we love this music. One thing is that they're the heroes, but they hear this music and they're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna do this. Then you hear these stories, man. I was like, it's crazy. And it's not crazy, but it's, when you think about from our perspective, musicians, civilians, it's a big impact, because like in the role of hero, like, of course we're not there, but I just meant in a sense of like, guidance to younger seekers of music to find their way, who maybe don't know where they're going with it yet.
Right.
But they explore that.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I when I was going through my divorce years ago, the Breaking Benjamin, a couple of their albums actually was that healing platform that where I would listen to their stuff, and within moments I was stronger just by listening to him to tell his story that was similar to mine, or is what I was going through at the time. And it guided me through, like you said, it guided me through some dark times. And it's I guess, as musicians that have done stuff in the past to help these younger cats and get to where they want to go, that's our duty to help.
Oh yeah. Yes, like you said earlier too, like, not only that what you hear, but to be able to be a part of that creation, be an artist, like the artists that we look up to. That in itself is a great feeling, that when you turn around and somebody tells you, like, hey man, your song really spoke to me, or something, it's anything passing by. And for local professionals, it's enough. I gotta say it's enough for me, because look, you put yourself out there, it's hard. We still look up to all these great bands and musicians, and just to be on that other side is a great feeling. Like, when somebody sings your lyrics, you know what I mean?
I was about to say that. It's when you're out there and you see somebody singing the words that you put on paper. That's a pretty amazing feeling.
It is, and that's one of the things that why I wanted to interview you and talk about, like, your experiences of how you started and came through this, because I know that not only were you a big fan of music, like, you just kept going with different things, as a singer, as a musician, as a producer, like, you've gone through all these levels. Tell me a little bit, like, where you started.
Oh, well, of course, I grew up in the music. My mom and her sisters and her parents, they were in a gospel band. And I remember as far as I can remember, going to revivals in different cities and watching them play, you know, and just, you know, those memories that I have is that it's something, I guess, that I was born into. And over the years, you know, through middle school and high school and college and stuff, you know, I was in music, played in band, and just, you know, just kind of honed in on the craft of you know, sight singing and being able to hear tones and basically mimicking other professionals at that time as far as the music goes and their creativity and professionalism. And, you know, that's pretty much what drove me to, you know, where I am now. It's like wanting to be, you know, part of that elite group of people that, like we said, that the younger generation looks up to. And I guess ultimately that's kind of where I want to be. I want to be someone that's recognized in the industry as I wouldn't necessarily say great, but made an impact, you know. And as far as influences go, I mean, it's all across the board. You know, I was a jazz player.
What'd you play in jazz?
Trumpet. I was a trumpet player.
Nice.
Yeah, I did symphonic bands. I did brass choirs. You know, we played chamber music, stuff like Renaissance
shit.
stuff.
I didn't know that shit.
Yeah. It's been a few years in college, you know, playing with some. Actually, it was kind of crazy. Like all those years of high school, competing against certain musicians that you know had reputations in your schools, and they become rivals. Well,
Yeah.
I ended up in bands with them in college. We all sat next to each other that we used to compete against, and you know, became good friends and stuff. But
Isn't
that was
that
kind
like
of
becoming like all state or something like that?
yeah, it's like a all region band and all state. Those people that we used to compete against, and that sometimes you were intimidated by. Well, I ended up being in, you know, a symphonic band with them in college.
Best of the best,
And,
right?
Yeah, it was fun. We had a good time.
Hell yeah.
Probably maybe too good, but yeah, but it was great. You know, from there it was you know, I wanted to continue on and do something that nobody in my family had done before, which was the rock metal. You know, I had cousins or my mom's cousins. They were in bluegrass bands and Tejano bands, and of course my mom was in the gospel band, and I would be the first one to do metal. And you know, that's kind of where my passion was at the time, was like the heaviest stuff, and you know, screaming and but also being melodic and putting in stories, I guess, that I needed to tell about what I was going through. And you know, it became, I think I opened up for Mudvayne in Lubbock, Texas, for my first like big show. And after that, I was hooked.
Shit.
I was hooked, and I think I was 21 years old. And,
So, what band were you? Sorry to interrupt, but
okay.
what band were you in when you opened up for Mudvayne when you were 21?
It was we were called Hydrid.
Hydrid.
Yeah, Hydrid out of Lubbock, and we had done a few gigs under what was the name of it? Sixth Out. We were called Sixth Out for a little while, and then we did a couple of member changes, and then we played. It was kind of crazy because we played to on a Friday night. We played to like maybe 5 people at this little hole in the wall, and then the Friday after that, or maybe 2 Fridays, we opened up for Mudvayne. It happened really quick, and then after that, I think we did maybe Judas Priest, or it could have been
What?
Judas Priest. Yeah, we opened up for Judas Priest.
No
Not with Rob. It wasn't Rob. What was
That's
that?
crazy. No, I said
yeah.
I'm just baffled. Like, that's fucking awesome.